Right, we've lost Marcus.
Yeah, we need to get started. Doy's run off too. Okay, good evening, everybody, viewers and replay viewers. I'm here with. I started off with 4 activists, but we're down to 2.
Your webcam's not working at all.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's warming up. It's warming up. So you guys are holding the fort in terms of the facial side of things. Let's get some intros then. Right, we're live.
He's got his tea. Is that what this break was all for?
Okay.
Is that how you can get a cup of tea?
Okay, Cal.
Is that what the break was all for? Yeah. Is that a conspiracy so you can get a cup of tea?
Hey, priorities. I was all set upstairs. I didn't know if this would be better. So anyway.
Yeah, we're live, guys. We're live. So, Dahi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sorry.
We're live.
Hello.
We're live.
Yeah.
Right. It's
So for the 10th
dodgy,
time, can somebody introduce themselves?
Go ahead, Dahi. It's all yours.
Oh, my name is Dahi.
All right, look. All right.
I'm gonna go first.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Dahi O'Fallon. I was an Irish Freedom Party candidate for Mayo. I like puppies and Irish things.
Colin.
Hello, JD Vicarja. It's Mr. Cathal O'Murray of Irish Freedom Party. I was a candidate in Louth and East Meath in recent elections. And since then, common leader for Louth, for Drogheda, and we are trying to get things moving post-election, but obviously with the lockdown, we are completely stymied, but there's other things that we can do, and this is one of them. So it's good to get involved, and I've been in a few Skype interviews with Karen and people like that and Conor since that, but it's first group chat, so looking forward to a bit of interaction over the next hour or so.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. John?
My name is in the corner, and I'm just a normal Joe Public who is tired of the way Ireland has gone, and it's time people woke up, and I just wish to play my part in helping them do so. Yeah, and I obviously follow nationalists, or rather populist politics. That's about it.
Where do you live, John?
Awfully, right now.
Awfully.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a candidate there or no?
No, the candidate for Laois Offaly with the National Party is John Daly.
And did you get a chance to vote for him, or?
I did, I voted for him, all right.
Right.
Very good, very good. John, you've been involved in the protest against the Asylum scam in Tullamore. Would you like to bring us up to date with that? With something we've covered here in Gearóid in the past?
Yeah, well, Dahi and myself have been involved with that for as long as I think we've done about three and a half protests, consecutive weeks leading up to when the direct plantation was inhabited about a week and a half ago. We were very disappointed with the results of the survey that had taken place in Tullamore. 100 people were surveyed, and more than 50% were in favour of the direct provision centre, and it's just a reflection on what Ireland has become, insofar as they're willing to see through their own replacement and downfall.
There was a caveat on that, though. The people did say that they were in favor of it, but the numbers, when you started talking about the numbers that would go into it, they changed their tune fairly quickly.
That's right. There was room for maneuver, but we're still at a very uncomfortable level, an uncomfortable percentage. It was definitely up near the 50% mark. I think 53 were in favor. Then the number was presented to them, then maybe not so much, but they still thought that Tullamore should host a direct plantation centre, nonetheless. Just with lesser numbers, but with those numbers, those people are going to eventually bring in their families and friends from abroad, and the town will be overrun with people who are just a burden on the state rather than enriching the community, which is claimed to be doing.
Yeah.
Which is the narrative.
I'd still hold out a little hope on that, because when people are saying they're in favor of it, all they're being told is, would you like to care for people who are in trouble? And everyone will say yes to that. I don't think most people know that most asylum seekers are frauds and fakes, and even our government doesn't accept them. And for anybody who's watching this that doesn't know this, this is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. But even by the government statistics, over 63% fail, which means they came in just as chancers, mostly from Albania and Georgia, and then they're not genuine asylum seekers. If people knew that most of them were frauds, they might change their tune. But as the questions are presented to them, as the government presents the whole situation, it's, do you want to help poor, war-fearing babies? And everyone will say yes to that. It'll take a long time for people to understand just how corrupt the system is for that, especially with lawyers and everybody else just playing their games with it. But yeah.
And most of the Irish are consumers of mainstream media. Believe anything that they're fed, so they're not getting the truth. They're not getting the facts.
Well, if you don't mind me like hogging the conversation for just a second, if people look at the 5 countries from where asylum seekers come from, Albania and Georgia, the vast majority, they're not even letting them off the planes anymore because they're such frauds that they don't even let them off the plane. Right? South Africa is considered a safe country. And I know there are issues with South Africa, and I have my sympathies with a lot of people. But that's 3. Nigeria is the richest country in Africa. So that's 4 of them. Right? All that's left is Zimbabwe. And I think people have a lot of sympathy with what's going on in Zimbabwe. But think about it. Of the top 5 countries from asylum seekers, there's real issues with 4 of them. I mean, over the week, I looked at a bit of facts about Nigeria. Nigeria has a space program. They actually have a space program. They've put up 5 satellites, and this costs a lot of money. It sure does. So, like, these are things that people don't necessarily know. And maybe, hopefully, events like this evening will help to let people know that we're not the bad guys. It's not that we just don't want to help people. It's just that the system that we have in place is just, it's ripe for lawyer exploitation. There are so many people that never leave the country, even after they've failed the process. Our government does not let them leave.
It's just lawyers making money out of it, yeah.
There is a lot of that, yeah. I mean, the one I like to throw out is in 2018, 1,000 people got deportation orders. 140 people left the country. 140 out of 1,000. And the reason they do this is because, like, the government says you must self-deport. And then, of course, nobody so nobody leaves. You know, they just stay in the country. So once you let them in, you're stuck with them, is what we need to be telling people. Whether they deserve to stay or not, you're stuck with them. You know?
They'll just end up staying and appealing, and the media will get involved and they just never go.
And we've seen cases like it. Yeah. Sorry.
Of course,
I mean, it's, and then they get hit with the guilt trip stuff and all that, you know. But if it was any other country, you'd be kicked out.
Well,
you know? If it was America, you wouldn't even get in, you know.
Right, not anymore. Anyway, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, even back in the George Bush days, you know, I know from personal experience, if you haven't got the right paperwork, it doesn't matter how nice a guy you are, you're not getting in, you know. Well, that's another story, you know.
Yeah.
So, guys, if it's
we'll
not,
let the Americans do what they want to do.
Okay, if the system isn't for genuine refugee seekers, who is benefiting?
Lawyers, I think. Lawyers.
It's on the property owners where the direct provision centres are produced.
The hotel owners and that, yeah. It's all a carve-up. They're all getting their slice of the pie.
So property owners who it's a leading question, I guess, but who do the property owners tend to have? Which political parties do they tend to have relationships with?
Well, of course, Fine Gael, Fall, yeah, obviously.
Not just them, some other ones as well.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, the ones up in Cavan and Monaghan, of course, Sinn Féin owners. What I was going to say, and what about the politicians? What's their angle?
I think they're on it too. I think they may be getting money from the EU and stuff. They're getting funding, and that's behind it as well. I think they've just sold out any sense of loyalty to the country, and they're banking on people in the country just not wising up to it. And to a certain extent, they haven't cottoned on just yet. It's going to take a while before they totally have. So I think they're just doing that.
It seems as if maybe
there's an ideological commitment too, though. There is a definite, they believe in this. There's an idea that, especially with Fine Gael, even we know what Varadkar's background was. He's always said that he was for the super state of Europe. So we know there is an agenda of unification, and they have their own idea of what that is. We as nationalists oppose this, of course, but I don't think it's just money. I think there's an ideological commitment to it, and they're going to work whatever way they can to do it. Sorry, yeah.
Well, they're ideologically committed to the EU and committed to the open borders thing, and they're not committed to a sense of Irishness. They're committed to a sense of Irishness, including everybody else in the world, just living in this little island. That's
committed to becoming a vassal state of a
exactly. Yeah. It's become. I think that's what Ireland has been pitched as. It's been really branded as a country where you can just dump everybody. It's going to become like the Australia of the British Empire. All you have
to do, All you have to do is walk around one of the main hubs, any of the bigger Midland towns, Mullingar, Athlone, Tullamore, watch any of the so-called new Irish walking through the shops. They have you might as well have put them into the Midwest America. They don't care where they are. They've no sense of loyalty to the area. I don't see them befriending or getting involved in local cultural groups or anything. It's not racist. It's fact, and they're going to live out their days here, contributing absolutely nothing culturally to the area, and I just don't see that this is going to end well. So
it's never ended well in any culture or country. It creates ghettos and it creates this. No, it's just not going to end well at all.
There's already a ghetto in Longford town. Longford town has a population of about 25,000, and there's already a ghetto in it, and it's a sad fact. What used to be 20 years ago, what used to be it used to be a farmer's town, and now you would not recognise the place. It was the midway point where people used to stop when they're going from Mayo to Dublin to Mayo, and now you wouldn't get out of the car in it.
I keep saying this, and I feel really, really sorry for those little towns that are just getting this dumped on them. And in smaller places like Longford, you're saying it's very quickly that people are going to become minorities in their, whereas the bigger towns it's not so bad, but in the smaller it's just going to be overnight almost, from what I can say.
No, yeah, sure, yeah.
Islamic centres opening.
It doesn't take much.
States, yeah.
I mean, as I say, they're banking on the Irish. They're playing on that old Kid Me the Fáilte thing, and everybody will be just welcomed over. And Irish went everywhere in the world. So they're using all that manipulative argument to get their way on it. And it's working to a large extent,
That's right.
Well, I have a good argument for that one. When they say about that the Irish went abroad, whether it's to Australia or to the United States, I'll always say it wasn't the Cherokee that invited them. It wasn't the Aboriginals that invited them. It was other colonizers. So this idea that somehow, we are now the Native Americans, we are now the Aboriginals, that people are being brought to our country. So we have a choice in this. We can either say yes or no to it. And a lot of this is just down to culture wars, whether we actually accept it or not. But that argument doesn't really hold up, because none of those people really wanted us there.
No,
right? It was only the British that took us in.
That's it. You were either sent there as a prisoner, or you had to go there because you couldn't eat the beautiful land at home. You had to work. So it was a hard slog. The Irish didn't get anything for nothing. I don't care what anybody says.
No, they got nothing. They got nothing from the American government. You either worked your ass off or you just die. And they built the country up. It was a country that required, the cities had to be built, the railroads had to be built, the underground, you name it, and the Irish worked on it. Ireland's a completely different kettle of fish to the America of 150, 200 years ago, So there was a big need for America. It was a vast country, and people were brought over from all over the world. But in this country, that's not required at all, and it is just becoming a dumping ground. End of story, as far as I can make out,
Well, yeah. If I could say something on that, as far as maybe bringing refugees and things is, but most of the immigration into this country is actually third level. The people that are coming in to work for Apple and Google and all that. 67% of the people coming into this country now have third level education, and they're all moving into our cities, right? So they're changing the dynamic of the cities, and they're also well-paid jobs. Those people aren't going to be losing their jobs in the next couple of weeks with whatever happens to our economy. They're not going to be out of jobs.
Yeah.
What's happening is, and they're globalized people. These are the people that are high English. Their English levels are very high. They're coming into work 100,000+ euro jobs, and that's what's happening to the market in Dublin, right? That's why there's so much strain on the market in Dublin. But what's happening is people who say from Eastern Europe, which has exploded really in numbers, they're coming into the smaller towns. They're coming into the places that were places where I'm living out this side of the country. And then, if you want to look at it as a hierarchy, it's the refugees and the asylum seekers that are being slotted in wherever they meet least resistance from the state. But the people that are coming to work in the factories and things, they're not all in Dublin. They're out here, and they're changing the dynamic of the towns and things very quickly. Right, so that's why people say, like, in Dublin, why they have a different attitude. Like, if you're a doctor and you deal with other doctors and nurses and professional people, they have one opinion of what immigration means. Right? If people are in small towns, they're getting a different type of person into the country. Right? I'm not saying good or bad; it's just a different type of person. So we've got a couple of different tiers of immigration. But if anybody has anything to say on that.
But either way, we are getting hit from every angle, whether it's high level or low level. We're just getting bombarded from everywhere, and the people are just so confused and befuddled about it all. They can't make head nor tail of what's going on, and it just takes people like ourselves to sort of try and explain it a wee bit that we are being taken a wee bit as mugs and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
but this is why I don't use the argument of work. Sorry, this is why when people say, but we all have to work, honestly, in that way, I might be a little more hardcore. I don't want people just coming in, even if they can work. I want the nation to remain an Irish nation. So,
Exactly.
like, if we use the argument,
if
we use the argument that if you work, it's fine. Well, how many millions of people will we allow if the economy will support it? I think we need to put a cap on it anyway.
You're looking at people then as just economic units, which is soulless.
Yeah,
and it's not, and it's definitely not contributing to a culture. It's just, it's going back to just pure capitalism again.
I always ask the question: what is the end point to this? Is there an end point? Is it just the obliteration of the Irish people out of the country, or is there a point where we say no more?
It doesn't look like it's going that way.
No, it doesn't.
It looks like they want to push it to the limit.
I think that Ireland has just been planned. It's been designated now as the dumping ground for Europe and now the rest of the world. And I think the Varadkars and Sinn Féin and everybody else are happy enough to go along with that. And they're first in the queue when they say, we'll take more refugees, we'll take more of that. I just think that's what Ireland has been designated as. They've got a very compliant government, and they're just riding roughshod over the people.
Yeah, it has been said in forums that Ireland has been looked upon now as an experiment. If they can if they can do a complete 180 on a culture and in 20, 30 years here, they can do it any place in the world.
Yeah,
because it's a very conservative. It was one of the most conservative countries, and you could not pull over a person's eyes from the country many years ago. Our own parents were not fazed by advertisements. They weren't they weren't heavy consumers. They weren't they went on psychiatric medication the way they're popping them today. They were just a no bullshit type of race, and now they've completely come away from that. You would not recognize members of your own family anymore as being yours. So if they can do that here, they can do it any place.
I was interviewed for Louth FM by Michael Reid just before the election. You might have seen it. And he was asking me basically what is a normal Irish person. He was kind of saying, and he got round to saying he couldn't tell what an Irish person was. I think we all know what an Irish person is, but he was making the point.
We recognize it, but they try and catch us up by asking us to define that. But it's
define normal.
An Irish person can recognize another Irish person. No definition is necessary.
Exactly. A normal Irish person is somebody you could sit down at the dinner table
and then
with your elderly.
Typical Irish.
Sorry, Paul.
No, he made the point that he was somebody who was at the hospital being treated by a Nigerian doctor and a Romanian nurse, And then he goes, yes, there you go. Typical Irish people. So in other words, you know.
Well, he just gave by using the term Nigerian and whatever the other term was.
Yes, so he's just proved his own argument. Like, I mean, you know, so when you flood the country with so many, it is quite hard actually to pick out what is a typical Irish person now. You know, we all know what it is. But if you ask somebody from Mars if they came down, they might be hard pressed to identify what an Irish person is because there's so many non-Irish in there now. You know. Yeah,
let's get the chat involved here. There were some good comments. But Bali 2121 was saying a cap would be a good idea, and Jay Cahill backed that up. A cap as in like a limit, like as in like, I'm guessing. I presume they don't mean cap.
10%, 8%.
We'll send down for Niall McConnell's sheepdog. Is that what they mean? Maybe that's what they mean. I don't know, but I think they mean a cap, like a limit.
10%, 8%.
I've gone on the record saying 20% is my limit. 20% is my limit, and we're at 20%, so it's time to say that's the limit because let's hear from
20%.
I'm a big soft liberal. I'm a big soft.
You're a lot more liberal than I am. Jesus Christ.
What about you guys at the bottom? It's. What about John and Carl? What about the chat? Give us your limits, guys. What percentage would you limit it at?
We're at 20%.
Well, we have. Oh, I heard we're at 17%. I don't want to be exaggerating it too much, but I think that's even too much. 10% is more than generous.
17.6 was the number of people born outside the States in the last census, the 2016 census, I think it was 17.6%, and of course it's gone up since that. And you know, there will be a lot of illegal, undocumented people as well. So some people have estimated it up to 25%, maybe even 30%.
I don't believe that.
You don't get
the optimum level. I mean,
no.
If you have an optimum around about, I don't know, 10 or 15, or even 10 or 12 at max, and keep it at that, that would be a healthy level. Yeah. But it's gone past the level of where it's healthy now. It's got to the level now where the indigenous don't know where they are with it, you know?
Yeah, the official government is at like 13 plus, isn't it? And so if you look at other realistic ones, it's like 15 if you've updated it. But then you have to consider the children of these people.
Yeah.
So like at what point do you want to say, okay, well, you know, how long do you have to say you've been here before you're kind of in the gang? So, but like, look at Hungary has 2% foreign born.
Yeah.
2%. Yeah. You know, and this is possible. This is something that people can decide on doing, you know. And I don't necessarily have a number in my head, but I think it's a fair thing to ask people who talk about, you know, how much immigration is great for us. Then it's like, okay, maybe we can agree. What's your percent? At what point do you think it's too much? And they usually shy away from that question, especially if they're just pro-open borders completely, you know, abstain.
Yeah,
somebody just
they don't want to talk about it anymore.
It's politically incorrect. I don't want to talk about it. We were the only party. I mean, I know a national party were talking about it. We were the only party that attempted to talk about immigration. So, I mean, there's a lot of scope and potential for us to get into that market because a lot of people out there want to talk about it and they weren't given a voice. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely.
But even if we're talking about people. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Donnie. Go ahead, Donnie.
Well, this is one of the things. Like when the election was on, I talked about having a 5-year visa, like acknowledging that we do need people in the country. That we do need workers right now, from time to time, for whatever reasons. But other countries like Japan and other countries have people come in for about 5 years. It means you can work, you can send money home to wherever you're from. No problem with it. We do it. Everybody does it. But the idea that you're here for 5 years, pick a number, 6 years, whatever it is. But the idea is that your children will not be guaranteed Irish citizenship. You'll be thinking of it as a short-term. It's a section of your life. It's not going to be your all-time home. But it also means that if you want to be helping people from other countries, then it rotates. You can help a different generation in another 5 years. But this idea that just someone has a job in this country that guarantees them life here, I think of us more as a people than, like as John was saying, like an economic unit. There should be something about being Irish that actually like means something. So,
you have to prioritize.
5-year visas. Any thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, I come back to Beware the Risen People did a very good stream on YouTube called well, it was one of, I can't remember exactly the title of it, but it was one of his early videos, "Beware the Risen People," which is a line from Padraig Pearson. It's a YouTuber, a commentator, a thinker. And his point was, in this half-hour analysis, what it comes down to is, what is good for the Irish people. This seems to have been thrown out. This prism or this filter to decide immigration policy has been completely thrown out. Our immigration policy is not related at all to what is good or right for the Irish people. It's what's good for EU. It seems to be, okay, maybe Frau Mama Merkel has taken on too many, has made the mistake of taking on too many, and that puts too much of a burden on Germany and France. So they want to shift. Now we have to we're the overflow tank for her mistakes, for her over generosity, for getting her estimates wrong, for as to what her country could deal with. So that's not good for the Irish people. That's good for EU. That's good for leaders that have made mistakes. We're the fall guys for failed policies, for failed EU policies, and we need to get back to policies in all branches of government that are for and on behalf of the Irish people. Sorry, Carl, go on ahead.
Good for the Irish, for the indigenous people. And studies have shown that the benefit on the economies of countries is about neutral. It's about even Steven. So when you take in the negative feelings, the resentment, when people feel that there's no culture left, that they can't go to the right school that they want, where they can't get into the doctors that they want to get into, and just the general feel bad opinion. It's proved that it's not good for countries generally. That's what studies have shown. So whether it raises the GDP by 0.1% is another story, but I don't think that's good enough argument to take away from the negatives that mass immigration brings in. So I wouldn't say that it's actually good for any country.
Look, even if it raised the GDP by, let's say, 10%, something appreciable, but it was causing workers, native Irish people to leave because their career possibilities, like doctors and nurses, were being undercut by international doctors and by foreign doctors and nurses coming in. Then, what is the point of? This is not a national economy. This is not an economy that is run for the Irish people. It's run for GDP. It's run for the people who benefit from GDP.
And subsequent suicide. Yeah.
And who are the people who benefit from GDP? Are the landlords and the political class and big business. Sorry, go on ahead, John.
I was just saying, and then that will subsequently lead to an oppression of the Irish psyche, and lead to depression and subsequently suicide. And what good will that be for a nation? You can see in a. Pardon?
The suicide rate is at the highest ever. So how can they say this globalism works when you get all this mass liberalisation of society, and at the same time, and mass crime and rapes are up, yet suicide rates are up? So it obviously isn't having a very positive impact on mental health. And going back to the point, take after when Ireland got independence in Britain in the 20s, the economy did dip, but they didn't care because they wanted the country back. So that argument for taking the country back has been completely flipped. Now it's all economy. The idea of nationhood and independence has been completely erased. So we've done that there in less than 100 years to ourselves. It's truly shocking,
Yeah.
Guys, we brought up the G word, globalism, there, and which segues me into the current issue of the coronavirus and COVID-19. Now, some commentators have stated that this is a great opportunity to expose the stupidity of globalism, the fragility of globalism, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe this is the best opportunity in the past 5 or 10 years that we've had to actually, make a strong argument. And I'd say that half the Irish people, or a good section of Irish people, would be very aware that things have gone wrong with this coronavirus, with the fact that the borders weren't closed early days to flights coming from infected regions, both in Ireland and also in Italy, and all around the world, and the countries that have ended up with the European countries that have ended up with small rates of infection are the ones that took who isolated themselves early, who closed the borders to foreign travel, obviously not to cargo. Some commentators are in the press are playing silly buggers and saying, oh well, if you close the borders, obviously you're going to like lose your cargo. But of course, nobody means that. When we say close the border, we mean close the border to non-essential tourism, travel, or business travel.
Yeah.
So are we right?
That's the point I was making.
There seems to be
there was an obvious bit of irony in what happened in the last couple of weeks. Everybody was praising our doctors for coming home, for basically showing their loyalty to the Irish people. And they were saying, it's great, this is wonderful, they're coming back to save us. And I'm glad they came. But everybody kind of ignored the fact that 37% of the doctors working in this country are foreigners.
Yeah.
And if they decided to go home, we'd feel very hard done by. There are over 4,000 Filipino nurses in this country. And the Philippines needs their nurses right now. And we would really think it was an awful thing if they all just got on a plane and went home. So in other words, it was fine for our lot to come home, and they were being very patriotic. But, you know, they wouldn't like it if it turned around the other way. So.
Yeah, that's the point that I was making in the letter. I got a letter published in the Belfast Telegraph yesterday talking about the lack of restrictions on foreign fishermen coming in, taking our fishing waters. There's no restrictions on that. Yet we're getting put in sort of lockdown in the country, and that there's no restrictions on flights still coming in.
Sorry.
So the government can be seen quite clearly there. But I do think that people are beginning to get the message that the globalist argument is beginning to fail. If nothing's going to show what this COVID thing is going to show it, because people will say, why the heck didn't we close the borders? Which is, again, we're the only ones that are saying that. So I think that message will start to hit home.
Yeah, the average man on the ground is not working now. He's unemployed, and he's beginning to see that it was because of the policy that they once supported. It's the root cause of their problem right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will go widespread. People put all their faith in money, and now that has come home to roost.
Well, we also discovered what borders are. As soon as Germany needed what they needed, they didn't supply it to Italy, right? As soon as everybody needed their own stuff, they discovered their borders very quickly. So did France, right? You know, so like all of a sudden when the crunch came, Europe really let everybody down, which in some ways is only proving our point. We've believed this for a long time, that, you know, these borders do actually exist one way or another, but they're not very happy about it happening the way it did. I think in that way, politically, this is going to be sad and horrible as it is. It's waking people up to what this agenda really is failing them. Even if you believe in it, it's going to fail you.
They have to hit rock bottom before they can rise up again. And it has been said that don't let a good crisis go to waste. And that it's the people on the dark side who are exploiting that phenomenon. But we can do it too.
Yeah. This is the worst I told you so ever.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you know, we're seeing the EU show its colors right now. It was every country for themselves. Even right now, though, we still need to send out our tests to other countries. For people that need to be tested, we still have to send them out of the country. Do you think we're first in line wherever they're going? I don't think so. It's not going to work that way.
I think that you mentioned the crisis there. I think this crisis could be used by, it was mentioned the other night, by Varadkar, that he could play on this opportunistically call another election, because the narrative's been completely changed and his ratings are up, so I think he will win seats. So what do people think about the chance of, I think it's made the chances of another election, it's increased the chances. What do you think?
I think so. That's why Conor's idea of us all meeting and getting to know one another is vital right now, in case that is going to happen, so that we're ready to get out there and help all we can with you guys.
Getting to know each other. Okay, as a movement, we're very good at getting to know each other on a national level. Like you go on somebody's stream and you know the faces, you know the handles on a YouTube stream, and you have a wee chat with your mates that you know. This is the atomized sort of life we're living. So our friends are somebody who you've never met, but you know their handle and you have a wee chat, a wee laugh with them. But that person could be at the other end of the country. And whenever the shit hits the fan and there's going to be another election, You need somebody. You need your team local in your constituency. If the shit really hits the fan with this coronavirus, you know, and you're going to need local people. You're going to need people. So the needs. We need to build local communities, not okay, national level. It's good to have networks. That's okay.
By the sounds of it, we're going to be in lockdown for another couple of weeks yet.
Well, at least maybe 3 months to some degree or other, and then we're going to have like a recession, stroke depression coming out of that, but probably a recession, possibly a depression. We're going to have some sort of like economic knock-on effect for sure. There's going to be people out of work. There's going to be, you know, there's going to be a lot of unsettlement. There's going to be a lot of depression and anxiety in the country. This is the time. It's going to be a time where you're going to need to have people close. And also, we could be hit with an election. So, and we're being hit all the time with asylum scams left, right, and centre. So, this is the time to when people, some people get time off, time on their hands. Instead of watching panic videos or horror porn about viruses, end of the world scenarios, which may be true. Okay, let's. Look, I'm not going to say that all this conspiracy theory isn't without some sort of grounding, but you know. But let's be practical. I mean, you talk to the nationalists who are into all, who think this is a hoax and they think it's a attempt to crash the World Bank. That could be the case. Yeah, I don't think there's much possibility that it is, but it could be the case. But what's your plan? I'm always asking, what's your plan then? Surely the plan always comes back to the same thing. Whether the COVID virus is the COVID emergency is a medical emergency or just an overblown medical emergency or some sort of plan, some sort of like globalist plan, we still need some political power in this country. We need to get nationalist voice into the Dáil. So whatever the reasons behind it, our response needs to be the same, which is to organise locally. And Cathal, Daithí, and all three of you guys, we were talking earlier about strategies for doing that, and maybe we'll hear from some of you as to, you know, how you get on with that, or how's it going out in your regions. Daithí, you're in Mayo, John's in Laois Offaly, and Cathal, you're in Louth.
So
Colin's in North. Is Cathal in Louth? I thought he was Northern Ireland. Okay.
Yeah, but he was originally from Armagh.
No, okay, right. That explains it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but I still in Louth.
Yeah.
So take it away, one of you. I'm going to go back to the chat here and keep.
I think.
Are we talking about what we can actually do? Go ahead, Carl. Go ahead.
We've been doing lots of stuff in Louth. We right up until the shutdown, we've been out talking to fishermen all around the county, in Drogheda itself, doing surveys, trying to recruit new members, doing things like trying to offer help to deliveries and with the COVID thing. And we had plans to move it forward. We had the comment meeting, and we were going to just move on a pace, but we're just completely stymied with it. So we've just been back to doing this sort of stuff since. We're just hoping that we're going to get some relaxing of it. But in the meantime, all we're trying to do, it's just talking at the minute, and very little, well, no face-to-face, obviously, you know. So we are limited. We're just limited to remote stuff like this, but we had so many plans in place. But we will get out there, you know. It's just hopefully we're going to relax us a bit. Do you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah. Daithí, go ahead. You're talking. You had something to add there.
Well, I mean, I think we all know we're in an incubation period. I mean, there's not much else we can do until even hitting the streets right now is a bit dodgy. So, like, we know we're just trying to make connections. But I have found since the election, I'm talking to a lot more people than I did before. So I'm taking some sort of solace from that. There are a lot more people interested in what we're doing than even before the election was on. So, like, that's good news as far as I'm concerned. As far as other than things, it's culture wars and it's politics. That's all we're ever going to be able to do. And right now we can't do street politics. So we can reach out to people as far as culture wars stuff and like the sub things, not necessarily the big running for election, but all the things that underlay that why we care about this country, the good things about it, rather than just always like, oh my God, the country's going to hell. It's not going to hell. There are problems, but it could all be turned around in one election. But in order to make that happen, we've got to convince somebody, everybody that we can, that it's a good idea. And that comes down to culture wars stuff. So like I'm into like emphasizing the good about what this country means, rather than just how horrible Varadkar is. As horrible as Varadkar is, I think we need to be a little more positive about what it is we actually love than what we hate. And that's my little speech.
Yeah. We look at our enemies, the other political parties, and there's no harm in giving the devil his due. We learn what did they do either in the present or in the recent past or in the far past to get to the position where they're in at the moment. And the answer is they went out and worked hard, and they created a machine. They created a political machine. Arthur Griffith's Sinn Féin did it in 1918, 1919, and they did it from scratch. They did it from scratch in 2 years, and they went and came from nowhere, took advantage of the universal suffrage, and got 73 seats, a big majority, and that went. I'm just going to mute somebody's mic there because there's a bit of feedback. So that's what it took, a mass mobilization. They weren't sitting back writing letters to sending whatever the 1918 version of sitting watching Gran Torino on YouTube was, possibly writing letters or reading the speeches of I don't know, Thomas Ashe or whoever, right? They got out on the street and formed groups and campaigned hard, like every man Jack, and that's what it took, because there was a residual vote there for the old Irish Parliamentary Party that had to be turned around. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do as a movement. And who's going to do that? It's the 20,000 people who voted. Nationalists, We need a fair proportion. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to be able to do that. Not everybody's going to have the personal abilities to be able to do that. But the ones that are in any way half capable need to start thinking about getting their ass off the sofa and their head out of YouTube and meeting with other nationalists in their area and forming those groups. Like 100 people in each constituency could do a lot. Gal, do you want to say something about we had 20 people out in our campaign in Louth, and we managed to get 1,000. This could apply. We're talking about the Irish Freedom Party campaign, but this applies equally to Jim O'Doherty's campaign, yeah, or the National Party campaign. Yeah. Tell us about how many people knew about the Irish Freedom Party or the nationalist alternative before.
Nobody really had heard about us, but boiled it down to crude figures. I got 574 votes, and I think first preference, and then it rose to 1,100 on transfer, 1,138. But I take that 574. That's about. I think we spoke to 5,000 people face to face, because I got 6,000 leaflets printed out, and we got rid of about 5,000. So looking at that, that's 10% of the people we spoke to voted for us in first preference. So if you want to look at it in crude figures, if we can speak to 50,000, we're going to get 5,000 votes. Because it's basically 10%. So it's just a matter of getting out speaking to the 50,000. That's put in very simple terms. But I think that's what we're looking at. And it's parochial halls, yeah, but we can't do that right at the minute. We will get out and do that, but until we can get back out and do it, we can't do that.
What can we do? Okay, what I'm driving at is, what can we do as a preparation to be able to do that in 3 months' time?
Well, yes,
what can we do now as a preparation? What can we do
with the people on those lists? We've started to do it, and but at the minute it's difficult too. At the minute it's difficult too, because
let's just slow down a second. Just explain to the people, which lists are we talking about? Our viewers.
Facebook Patriot lists. Each county has one now. And it's just there's about 150 people on the Louth one. So it's about sort of randomly phoning up people there. Now, I tried to do a bit of it earlier, and people are reluctant to lift the phone up. but it's about trying to do that.
I've done a lot of that, and I find that in any call you'll pick a few people up.
Yeah.
You'll always pick a few people up. You won't obviously pick everybody up, but you'll pick a few people up. And it might be the first time that I've spoken to another nationalist.
Yeah. You don't have a hook to hang it on at the minute because you have nothing actually on the ground plan. So you have to factor that in, but we can still talk and keep in touch. But we are a bit snookered because we've nothing to say. We can't say, look, we have a meeting in 2 weeks. We're going to blah, blah, blah. We can't do that. So we have to just...
We can distribute literature. We can get literature printed off and distribute it as long as it's one at a time doing it in a specific area. I know there are restrictions on how many people can assemble in groups right now. So it's not ideal for a whole team to hit the streets, but a couple of people in an area doing it, chipping away bit by bit until we can actually properly mobilize is one thing we can do.
Yeah, well, we've got all our literature printed out, and we've been working on doing. We're working on a newsletter and stuff, but again, it's how can we give it to? We can't face to face give it to anybody at the minute. It's very frustrating. I know that.
Only post it in the door because the postman is still operating, so there's nothing to stop flyering either. As long as we're not doing it in large team.
We were kind of advised as well that it would bad PR to be putting stuff around doors unless it's linked into the COVID thing. You might get a negative PR for doing that. So we were just told to be a bit careful about that as well.
Okay. Good idea, though. Good idea. What I was going to say, well, we can work the sort of calls that we were talking about earlier, where we've got a list. We've created a list of Facebook contacts by county or by constituency. And using Messenger, we can actually make calls into those groups. So you could have like 50 people or 100 people in a little Messenger group, and you can make one call. And through one call, you can reach all of them. You can send them. You can ring them all. Now, maybe 10 people will pick up. Then I switch on my camera. This is when I've done this in the past. I've done that. I switched on my camera so people can see who I am. Most people will answer with the camera off. You say, "Hi, it's Conor Rafferty. I'm calling from Patriots Loud," or whatever Facebook group it might be you're calling from. You're in the chat. You know me from the chat. Oh yeah, I know you from the chat. Yeah, I know who you are. Okay, cool. Well, okay, just to let you know, you're in a chat. You're in a call with several other people that are from that chat as well. We've got such and such, such and such, such and such, such and such. Oh yeah, I know all those people because I've exchanged messages with them. Or I've watched the videos that they've been sharing. Okay, cool. So I'm just calling to make contact because we haven't actually, none of us have actually spoken before. None of us have ever met before. Yeah, we've come together. We're all on the same side. We could work miracles in this constituency, but the first step is getting to know each other. So this is just an icebreaker. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then if anybody wants to follow up and ask me any questions or introduce themselves, then feel free. And if you do it, there's a way. If you do it like that, so you're clear right from the start about what you're there for, what this call is. And you can say, look, you're free to leave at any time. If you don't want to be in the call, that's no problem. It's nothing urgent. I'm just going to be making these calls every now and again. Feel free to join in, pick up if you're free. If you're not free, then let it ring out. If you're in a call, and you need to go, then you don't have to make an excuse. Nobody's taking minutes or anything like that. It's not being recorded. We're just getting to know each other. And when I'm not around, you guys feel free to make a call too. And you can use the software. You can pick who you want to call. Just one person or 2 or 3 people that you're comfortable with, and start getting to know each other. And maybe you'll find out that 2 or 3 of you are in the same area, and you want to you've got a problem to solve. There's an old lady who needs some food delivered. There's a young family that needs an odd job, or a single parent that needs an odd job doing, and we need a tradesperson. This is the time to get community focused and pull on the richness of the nationalist community. We are people who care about all our Irish people, after all, or we should do anyway, for real nationalists. And it doesn't have to be. There doesn't have to be something behind. It doesn't have to be some aim to get people to hand out leaflets. In fact, it probably works better if there isn't. If it's just social calls and we work, we get people to know each other and build from the ground up, and let people choose their levels of participation, whatever participation they're comfortable with. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're in one of our Facebook groups, be be aware
Say
that.
hello.
Say hello. Yeah, pick up. We won't bite. We're not the tax man. And if you're not in one of our Facebook groups, then you can find them. They're easy.
Not yet. Not yet.
It's just Patriots space, and then whatever your area is, whatever your constituency is, like so. Patriots space. For John, it's Laois. Patriots. I've forgotten Laois. Awfully. Patriots Laois.
Awfully.
For Dahi, it's Patriots Mayo. For Cahill, it's Patriots Louth. There's one for every area, for every constituency, basically.
There's Louth and East Meath as well.
There's one for me. We've done one for Meath. Okay, so if you put East Meath and Patriots East Meath, you're going to see. Sorry, Patriots Meath. There's two for Dublin. Patriots Dublin City. Patriots Dublin Fingal. The counties that have got two constituencies. The Facebook group. There's two constituencies rolled into one. Then we've just created one Facebook group for that constituency. So we've got Patriots Carlow Kilkenny. We've got Patriots Cavan Monaghan. We've got Patriots Longford Westmeath. Patriots Sligo Leitrim, and all the other ones that aren't two counties rolled into one constituency. They're just like one county name. But if the county is split into various bits, like Cork, we just have one for Cork. Because most people don't realize, a lot of people don't. When we were doing this, it had been when I was creating these last Christmas, it had been 5 years since the last election, or going on for 5 years, and a lot of people didn't realize which Cork constituency they're in, or which Dublin constituency they're in. So for the counties that were split up into lots of different constituencies, we just had one group for that. Anyway, there's no excuses now, because I've bored the pants off you with all the Patriot Facebook groups.
Never, no, you haven't done that. No, I haven't heard you mention that before, Conor.
And people should know also that it's not any particular party or anything. It's not any particular party. It's just people who care about their country.
Okay,
pick
it up there, guys. I'm gonna look after the chat here. Sorry to interrupt. Dahi, you were in full flow there.
I was just going to say about
no, just the idea that just so happens that myself and Cahill are Irish Freedom Party, so they might be starting to think it's a way we're trying to sucker them into the party. It's not. There are people from all affiliated, not affiliated, just people who care about their county and their country. So you're welcome, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fixed the road.
People, but for the I could. It was just. I was a member of the National Party. It just so happened that I happened to meet the right people to be introduced to get a chance to meet the Irish Freedom Party people, and it just felt right that I could run as an independent, but allied with them and with the Irish Freedom Party. And I've been going to their meetings, and we've got on very well. They're a great bunch of professional bunch of people. But I could have easily have gone with but for a few accidents of encounters, in terms of the people I met, I could easily have been running in the last election with the National Party. So we're practical people. We realize that none of the parties is strong enough in all the areas to field 40 candidates at this stage. So we have to work together. We have to. I'm not saying we have to merge or anything like that, because that's a big job. But we can get a lot of benefit by just. It's worked out nicely, because there are areas we didn't actually clash against each other in the last election. So now there are areas like John's area, Laois Offaly, that the National Party has the whip hand, because they've already had the candidate. And of course, we should get any Irish Freedom Party candidate. Member in Laois Offaly should get behind the National Party in Laois Offaly, because they've gone ahead in this, and vice versa in Tipperary, vice versa in Louth, vice versa in Mayo. Yeah, so whoever's the strongest, whoever's got the best chance, we just all have to roll in, put our shoulder behind them. Because there's not enough of us to be fighting the Civil War. To be before we fought the War of Independence. Let's fight the War of Independence first. Well, in these days, by war I mean like an electoral war. Yeah, let's get our sovereignty back. Then we can.
Wanna give somebody else a chance to speak, will you? Jesus Christ!
This has been a party political podcast.
Come on, man.
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Gee,
Clocks are running fast. Yeah, the clocks have gone forward. Carl, Armagh.
Come on, John, you said something.
Armagh man can't stand to hear Tyrone man take over like that. Yeah. Okay, we better give Carl a wee
Somebody
chance.
did say, all right, you were hogging the conversation. John, can you say something?
Go on ahead. You're Carl. Go on ahead. You're in the spot now.
I was just saying, I've only got an hour, but let's talk a bit about Irish language, just to slightly change the subject, yeah?
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely.
I got something sent through there about the Duolingo.
So go on ahead. I'm just referring to the chat.
I will do, Marcus, yeah. What's the CDC Marcus is talking about there in the comments? What does that mean?
Don't know.
Yeah, he wants to meet you tomorrow.
Give us more information there, Marcus. Go on ahead. You're talking about the Irish language.
What I had planned for the coming was that we were going to introduce a wee bit of just learn a phrase or something at the end of the meeting, or even a word or two, just to do it in a fun way. Or if anybody wants to try and sort of learn a bit, I'm more than happy to bring people through it from scratch, basically. I've got someone here. I'll show. I mean, this is just something. If you can see, these are old Shanachal proverbs, old proverbs in Irish. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You see that out? It's that one there. Two smoich lacht na hibre. That's good starts half the battle.
Okay.
Just stuff like that, just to make it a bit fun. As far go mal na go bra. I mean, it's better late than never. It plays to us, you know. Ní York go cur the kill. There's no strength like being put together, you know. What else?
Mm-hmm.
It's trash pan the clive. The pen is maker than the sword. Dahi, do you have any Irish? Do you guys have any Irish yourselves, or?
Oh, secondary school, you know. So
honestly, guys, I can barely get out a sentence. I can barely hear what anybody's saying. But like, my Irish is pretty poor. But I'm using Duolingo. I'm on Duolingo. Yeah. I won't be testing at the moment.
There's lower E agus marhi she. That means speak it and it will endure.
Oh yeah, marhi means to last. Yeah, marhi. Lower E agus marhi she.
Lower E, speak it and it will endure.
It will stick. Speak it and it will stick. Yeah.
Marhi endure. Yeah.
Marcus wants us to start using. Marcus has told me how to go with me for this before, and very rightly so. He wants us to use Doyle Cantor for instead of constituency, because I talk about constituencies 50 times in every hour. So from now on, I'm going to say Doyle Cantor. So thanks for that, Marcus. Did you hear that, Cathal?
What was that? Doyle Cantor? So
yeah,
that means constituency.
Yeah, Marcus wants me to use Doyle Cantor, so I mention it every 50 times in an hour in every live stream.
Instead of constituency, yeah.
There's a Cathal. We've got you a student here, Nicoline McGivern.
Right. Great, brilliant. Is she on Duolingo? What we should try and do is follow each other in Duolingo. Dahi, you in Duolingo? Yeah, you said.
Sorry, I can barely hear what anybody's saying. So,
Dahi, are you in Duolingo?
I am using Duolingo. I studied at university because I studied Irish at university, and I had a little bit before that, but it's been long lost since. So I'm using it. I'm not good at it. I'm not proud that I'm not good at it, but I am using it every day a bit. Yeah.
I'll try and get your contact because you can sort of follow each other on it and learn a bit that way.
Carl, do you want to give out your contact details somehow for Nicoline to get in touch with you there about learning some Irish with you?
Yeah, how do I do that?
Nicoline, you can look up on my about page in here in YouTube. You can find my email address. I'll pass. And for anybody who wants to come on and have a chat with us, we're looking for activists, people who've got involved in the last election, or people who have been to demonstrations. We're not looking at this stage. We're not looking for armchair nationalists, because armchair nationalists tend to live. Sorry, lads, tend to live in a little bit of a bubble.
There's 1,000 of those.
Yeah, tend to live in a. But we need us guys who have put skin in the game and gone out and broken sweat for Ireland and taken the risks and called names. We're the ones that need to be coming forward and forming the vanguard of this movement. We're the people who know how to talk to the public. We're the people who can interface with the public. So we need to be. These guys here have stood for election. They've put their own. They put their money where their mouth is. They've put their own money up. They've given time, like all the candidates, like all the canvassers that have gone out and put up posters, delivered leaflets, etc. It's on the shoulders. Like Ireland's future is on the shoulders of the people like that. And there's only probably about 200 or 300 solid people who went out and did that in the last election. And if you want to know why the nationalist parties only got 1%, it's because there was so few of us actually doing that. But we had to do it because we had to break. We had to. What's that saying? Too smoich.
Lach na Hebre. Good starts half the battle.
Lach na Hebre. Too smoich lach na Hebre. But this is the time we now need other people coming forward, joining the commons, joining the parties, getting involved at a local level. Facebook Live.
I was hoping to make the Drogheda Common completely no English. Just make it from now on just all Irish. So,
you have to get everybody started first.
No, that's a joke, everybody.
Nicoline says she's in Duolingo. That's excellent. Yeah, Duolingo's a good place to start. Good place to start, isn't it, Carl? But And I was talking to Karen today, or was it yesterday? She was saying, "Oh, I don't understand it. I can't say anything." I said, "Don't worry. That's natural. A baby. That's how humans learn language. We learn to understand. Our understanding is 6 months ahead of our speaking.
Yeah.
Like our listening is 6 months ahead of our speaking, and our reading is 6 months ahead of our writing. So it's natural that there's a lag. Just hang out with it. Not, if you do enough Duolingo, if you get all the way through that tree, by the time you're finished, you'll be able to say things. Enough of the words would have stuck. Carl, you wanted to talk about your one of the activities you've been doing recently is writing letters to the paper.
Yeah, well,
one of the ways we can actually reach out to the public. It's an old, we're back to the old-fashioned methods because of the press, because of the fact that social media is throttling the nationalists. Like, you look at Gran Torino's subscribers, he's incrementally growing it 1% per year, or maybe 1.5%, 2% per year. It was 6 months ago it was 20,000, now it's 22,000. If we're waiting for the whole of Ireland to, or enough to become Gran Torino subscribers, we're going to be waiting 20 or 30 years. And of course, as soon as that starts getting towards a critical mass, YouTube's just going to throttle it. So we need to be looking at old-fashioned methods, not digital methods, but old-fashioned methods, like letters to the paper, canvassing, etc. And Carl, you had some success with the letter to the paper, didn't you?
Yeah. Just to say to Nicoline there, if she tries to check us out on the Facebook, I can give details about the Irish. Nicoline, just say that Nicoline McGivern, get involved with the Facebook, and I'll give details on that. But yes, I got a letter published in the Belfast Telegraph yesterday, and it just outlined the sort of what would you say, contradiction in the lockdown that we're experiencing in Ireland compared to the free movement still coming in and that. So it's a good channel that's been open, and that would have been read by a lot of people. That's got a circulation of 250,000 people, and that would have been read down south as well. So it's a good channel, and I was saying to the ones in Louth, if they want any topic, I can get my name on it, Irish Freedom Party. And that, that'll open up that channel there. I've tried with the ones down south as well, no success yet. But it's another angle of attack, which we can certainly do. So I was pretty happy with that.
I'm just gonna bring that up for people to read, and I'm gonna ask you to read it. If you can read it out, can you see that, Carl? To read it out.
Oh yeah, that's it there. Yeah, that is it there.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
I can read it if the writing's too small for you.
No. Go on ahead, read it. Read it.
Okay. Irish state putting EU before its own people. I find it a concern that in the midst of a global pandemic, the government of Ireland did not move to immediately close down the border, similar to other countries, in an
That
attempt
was meant to be the external borders as well, by the way.
that was meant to be.
Well, it was the borders. It's not meant to be the internal border.
Oh, of course, yeah. Only a cretin would think that. Yeah. Or a journalist, a journalist who's trying to inverted commas journalist who's trying to catch you out. Okay. I find it a concern that in the midst of a global pandemic, the government of Ireland did not move to immediately close down her borders, similar to other countries, in an attempt to contain the spread of the coronavirus. It is even more disturbing that the Irish Department of Health admitted that EU fishermen in Irish ports would be exempt from COVID-19 restrictions. There are no controls over the above, yet we have draconian restrictions introduced to curtail Irish people's rights in Ireland. It seems, therefore, that the sanctity of EU free movement and misappropriation of Irish fishing resources has to be maintained over the rights, the health and the well-being of the Irish people. Gearóid Murphy, Irish Freedom Party. So, you got some good responses there. Herman Kelly's obviously seen that and delighted with it. Yeah, well done, that man. Right, I'm gonna.
Yes, I mean there'll be more of them to come. There'll be more of them to come. So watch this space. Yeah.
I need to stop sharing that screen before I let something sensitive out.
You had put down bingo beside it, but that wasn't on the bingo page. It was on the letters page.
Any opportunity. Okay, let's see what's happening in the chat. So thanks everybody for joining us. Jake Hall says 1,000. Yeah, there's 1,000 exactly. Maybe 100. Yeah. 20. There's 20. Like we are the 1% of the 1%. 1% of people voted nationalist, and we are the 1% who gave them the opportunity to vote nationalist. And really, guys, come on, give us a hand out here. You know. If you want to see more than 1% voting nationalists next time, we need, we want to get some TDs in the next election. We want to make a decent showing. We're going to need an army of about 100 people, realistically 100 people in each constituency. I'd say the average in the last election was about 10. We need 10 times as much participation. Yeah, if you're waiting for, stop sitting back waiting for somebody to come in on their quiet charger and save us all. Maybe this is like modern man. Some of our nationalist philosophers have a lot to say about how the manhood of Ireland has changed over the years, including the womanhood and that as well. That we're consumer based. We've become like consumers, and we're prepared to sit back and wait for somebody else to do it. Like all these people who are into QAnon, for example. That seems to be you couldn't have made up a better psyops to completely paralyze a whole nationalist movement than to feed them somebody who don't know who the hell it is drip feeding information that has already been confirmed and saying, don't worry, just sit back and relax, it's all taken care of. If you want to, my opinion is you couldn't make up a better psyops to paralyze and turn any nationalist movement into complacent sheep who will just sit back and not do anything and just be concerned. They're all concerned about doing their research and convincing each other, how right they are. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
Yeah, there's a certain amount of licking the wounds going on since the last election. A lot of them have gone very quick. They need to re-emerge now before people lose interest.
You're talking about Q and the likes of the Anons, John?
Yeah, some of those too. Some of those, and a lot of the Nationalist Party, a lot of the Populist Party members as well. They need to re-emerge. Mm-hmm. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah. Well, Justin Barton made a good speech last night. What did you guys think of the speech last night from Mr. Barrett? Did you hear? Did anybody hear it?
Yeah, he's
No, I
always
haven't heard that yet.
very clear about the COVID thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He's-
You've
Yeah,
you've an opinion on that, haven't you, Cathal?
well, no, I just think he was quite clear on the COVID thing and the conspiracy stuff that's going on. I mean, I think on balance, we need to address the idea of what are the measures being taken, rather than sort of getting deep into the rabbit hole about conspiracy talk about it. 'Cause I think I'm not sure about the merits of that. What do you think? I think he's probably correct. What do you think about that?
Sorry, go on ahead, lads.
I'm yet,
You guys pick it
I'm
up.
yet to-
Busy dealing with the chat
no, I'm
here.
yet to do that now, so I can't comment on it.
Did you see it, Dahi?
All yours done.
Did you see Justin Barrett's chat last night? Oh, okay. Dahi's having audio.
You're saying Justin Barrett. Justin.
Yeah.
Barrett. Sorry, I haven't seen it yet. I
Okay.
have not seen it yet. Sorry.
Did you see it, John?
No.
John didn't
No,
see it.
not yet. Oh, no.
So, guys, have we anything else that we wanted to? We agreed at the start we were going to try and keep it to an hour and 15. So we're coming up to an hour and 10 minutes.
No, I think that's enough. Yeah.
Getting ready for bedtime. Shall we? Cal's off to the theatre, aren't you? Didn't you say earlier on? Yeah. So we different rules in the north, obviously. Cal's from a lawless part of the country.
Bandit country.
Bandit country, indeed. Yeah. But he's going to be responsible. He's going to go to a Punch and Judy show, isn't it? Right. It's getting late. And my jokes aren't firing, so it's time to call it to a halt. But guys, should we do it? Should we make this a regular thing and have it like on a rolling invitation basis and just see, try and
who joins in?
Trying to have a slot and then just talk through, and it was a wee bit rough around the edges tonight. We got a wee bit late getting started. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, a few problems with the sound, but I think I enjoyed it. I was a bit nervous at the start with all the problems that we had, but we relaxed into it. We did a good analysis of the asylum scam there at the start.
You did a good job, Conor. Very good. It's well done. Well done. I must get that info about how to start one off myself, actually.
Mm-hmm. It's a team job, guys. It's a team role, and I couldn't get my bloody camera to work for ages. But we got there in the end. We lost one of our number somewhere along the line. He got lost on his way to Blackwater Town. Marcus, maybe you'll come back on next week, and we'll get a few more as well. So, do you think we should maybe go out at 7 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock? I'm conscious of the fact that there's a lot of nationalist activity in the evenings, a lot of nationalist streams. What do people in the chat think?
I don't mind. Yeah, maybe 8 o'clock or something. Yeah.
Well, you see, Irish Patriot goes at 8. Who else goes at 8? Sometimes Garage goes at 9 p.m. Sometimes GT goes at 8 p.m.
I don't mind.
Then there were 3.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up now myself here. Yeah, a bit earlier maybe if you want for next week. Okay.
Portmore. Okay, we'll think about 7 o'clock. What's the space?
Right.
Guys, thanks very much to my fellow guests.
Good night.
Thanks, John Dahi and Carl. If you're watching,
studio audience,
subscribe. More importantly, subscribe. If you do nothing else, subscribe. And then if you've got time after that and power in your arm, then you can smash that like button. And
subscribe to my channel, Guthanna Irish Patriots as well. It's online as well.
Yeah. Carl's channel, Guthanna Irish Patriots. Stick it a message in the comments below, Carl. Yeah. You can't do it now, but you can do it afterwards.
Right.
Yeah, you can do that. I give you permission.
we're all very friendly.
Even though you are from Armagh.
Can I?
Derry Antrim down Armagh, Fermanagh up Tyrone.
Are we saying goodnight then? We are.
Oi, Slan you.
Saying goodnight.
Okay.
Good night. See you. Then there were 2. You're on your own, Conor.
Right. Tyrone, you're on your own.
Good night.